Mike, greatest single need for this team?
I think offensive line in a general statement. Tyron Smith's career is almost over. Connor Williams' probably career as a Cowboy is gone. The other Connor looks like a bust of a pick.
Backup at best?
It looks like Biotic is a below average starting center. Also, Zach Martin's not young. I think he does have 3 or 4 more great years left in him, I think. But
if he wants to play, you know?
Right. So I would
God.
say right now you're looking pretty weak on your offensive line, especially future. You look okay at it right now, but okay at best. And I think we found out this year, if you don't give Dak a lot, he can't do it close to on his own. The great quarterbacks can do more with less. Dak isn't a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but you need to give him a lot for him to be successful.
Let me ask you a question about offensive line then. Are you scared of doing offensive line free agency when we're hearing rumblings that maybe Connor Williams will get $7 million? Like, it feels like we don't really love Connor Williams and he might get $7 million.
I know this is a contradictory statement here because of what recently, right? Connor Williams looks like second-round pick, okay at best. Connor McGovern doesn't look like a good third-round pick. Biotic, later pick, not working out as well as hoped. But I do think the Cowboys are pretty good at picking offensive linemen in the draft. I would say if you probably look at other teams that have taken offensive linemen over the last 5 to 10 years, the Cowboys are probably above average at it. So I would say, in the first round, I would hope at 24, there's a dude who falls to you who's a really good offensive lineman, and the Cowboys seem pretty good at doing that. And then when you get to round 3 through 6, hopefully you can find another guy that you like there. And the dude who beats up who is the guy we took that beat up girls?
Josh. Yeah, there
Josh
you go.
Ball?
There you go.
Like maybe Josh Ball is pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't, because he had an ankle injury and then
Right.
he just disappeared.
Already needs to be stronger. A lot stronger.
Okay.
And so that's a huge factor. When you're, and Mike, you know this, going from the minor leagues or college to the pros, completely different like workout setups and everything. And you're going up against bigger, stronger men that are lifting heavier and doing all these things that are faster. You're the best of the best. So he needs to be stronger. That's what I hear from multiple different people.
Yeah, but we didn't get to see him.
And that bodes well for a guard, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever get concerned, just as an aside, this could be completely unfair. Do you ever get concerned when somebody hasn't even played a down of professional football and they're already hurt? Or do you think that's an unfair thing to say about his potential durability going forward?
I think it's fair to talk about that. There's guys that just can't stay healthy. Has Blake Jarwin ever been healthy?
No.
Not since he got moved into the kind of marquee role.
But that being said, Cedric Wilson had a pretty healthy year. If I remember right, they had to put him on the injured list for his whole rookie year. I don't know if he was hurt his whole rookie year, but I mean, he did get hurt in training camp, and maybe they just tried to kind of keep, like, they knew he couldn't contribute his rookie year, so like, let's put him on this list.
I would do that every year.
Keeps him under control.
I would do that every single year. I would hide people with fake injuries all the time as they grow and get like NFL ready.
And Mickey was really careful to be like, I didn't say to do this, but he also like let us know the structure and rules are in place that you could. But he was very clear, I'm not saying to do that. And I was like, I would do that.
And wouldn't that result in like NFLPA complaints?
Yeah.
And then that would be a whole
sure
nother bag of
baseball, you
worms.
have to agree.
I'm sure there's no
it's
way
called
around
Phantom. When I played, it's called the Phantom DL, and the player and agent do have to agree to it.
Yeah.
I always kind of wonder, I don't want to take this in a different direction. Just a really quick thought about that. Isn't that fine probably worth paying if you're artificially inflating the size of the roster and people you can stash?
Absolutely.
Like, what's that fine going to be? Oh, no, $100,000. Like, for a regular human,
Is that from your
that's
cap?
a lot.
Well, really what you're doing is the player has to agree with you.
Okay.
So what happens is hey, we
Do you
want to
wanna be a
keep
part of
you.
the
So if
Cowboys?
this is what Jerry Jones would do here, or the coach. They'd say, Corey, we want to keep you on this team. But
wanna be
right
here.
now, it's going to be tough to keep you on the active roster. To keep you, what we can do is put you on the injured reserve list.
All right.
Now,
Do I get paid?
to do that, you would get paid as an NFL player, but
All right. That's cool.
to do that, you're going to have to also comply and say you're hurt. So you are hurt. You can't do certain practices because we'd probably get caught if you did something like this. And so we'd like to do that. You don't present to them. What you don't say is, because if you don't, then we would have to release you. You might say that. You might just go as far as like, hey, if you don't comply, what we'd have to do is we would release you. But that's now up to the player agent. Does the agent, what the agent's job is to do in that situation before saying yes, is he makes phone calls as fast as he can. And within an hour or two, he gets an idea. If they let him go, can I find my another client? Can I find this client a job as fast as I can on an active roster? If the answer is no, then you say, all right,
Dude,
go on the Phantom,
Cowboys,
Phantom DL or Phantom injured list or injured reserve for football. And that's the way you do it.
You asked about injured players earlier. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot, and since then everything's been fine. So,
Corey,
What?
the thing about that is
that was his rookie year. I don't know if you remember. He's played a lot of games since then.
That's true, but he's missed a lot of games.
What are you talking about?
Since then,
He's paid millions of $90 million.
I'll show you some numbers
because
later.
he's there, right?
It'll probably be alarming too.
Crap.
But you guys hit on what seems to be the sentiment of the fan text from the 972. They said not only offensive line, they need to trade up in the draft. They want to use Connor McGovern, but permanently as a fullback. And so, but I see this again and again and again. Offensive line, offensive line. I understand from the 717 new owner and from the 903 quarterback. All right. I'm not here to dispute that, especially with the owner given the events of the week. But those are things that are not likely to change, where Mike and Corey hit on something that very much can change offensive line. That's why I was surprised, because I would say offensive line as well. The Athletics said pass rusher.
I was worried about that too, because if you're releasing DeMarcus Lawrence.
And that is exactly right. And this is one of the things it says. They're unlikely to have DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory next season. So maybe you keep one, maybe you restructure DeMarcus Lawrence, or maybe you just re-sign Randy Gregory and let him go. But their point is you're unlikely to have both of them. And if you don't have both of them, I know one of the options that people are really savvy on is moving Micah Parsons up there. And
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and see, because
Not yet.
there are other people who love his position flexibility and like, I like having him there sometimes. I also know the fact that it's not like you're incredibly strong at linebacker either. Is who are you? Okay, let's say you move Micah Parsons. What linebackers on this team?
Well, you're trying really hard to make Jabril Cox and everything.
Who was injured last year as well. Maybe you keep Leighton Vander Esch, maybe you don't. And then, you know, so like you're just moving one problem and replacing another.
Yeah, but I mean, you're moving this valuable resource to the place where it's most valuable, which is pass rush. I mean, that is the place where, again,
on every play?
Yeah, on every play.
Is pass rush the most valuable on every play?
Yes.
When they're running the ball?
And,
I mean,
you're not good at run defense.
Your defensive line is still going to be important in that. I mean, the fact of the matter is that's still going to be a majority of what's happening here is passing the football in the places where chunk plays can happen. I'm not saying linebacker is not important at all, but having a really good pass rusher is absolutely going to mean more than having a good linebacker.
I agree that like on pass rush downs or potential pass rush downs, having a guy that can do that is important. I don't, and that's when I want Micah in that position. I also want him tracking down running backs whenever they try to run, and I need big beefy guys in front of him to make something stop. I have to invest in the defensive line. I have to do that too, or I have to go invest in linebacker because I'm running out of those too.